All right, I know there's only like, what, 20 Black Country New Road songs, but I have nothing better to do. Why not? Let's do a bracket. So I have 16 Black Country New Road songs here. I couldn't do all the songs from their new album because I would need a bracket of 32. They don't have 32 songs, so I'm just going to be doing these tracks here. Let's just not waste any more time. Let's get into the first matchup here, which is Science Fair and Snow Globes. I am going to play snippets from each track. The angst on that track is insane. Probably one of the most unsettling Black Country New Road songs compositionally. Isaac is absolutely unhinged on it. It has so many great phases to it. Overall, it's just a fantastic track. That's going up against Snow Globes. Obviously, the drums can be polarizing on that one. They have grown on me quite a bit. I didn't love them at first, but I feel like they do suffocate the track, but I feel like it's a really cool aesthetic and a really cool way to build anxiety and to build this kind of just overwhelming feeling of maybe not being heard or just feeling drowned out. I do feel like this one works a little bit better in the context of the album than it does as a standalone track. It does have a great linear progression to it, but like I said, it does work better in the album context. So I'm going to go Science Fair on this one. I think it just, again, is a little bit better as a standalone track. They're both great. One thing you're going to see on this tier list is that pretty much every single track on here is fantastic. There's a couple weak ones, but for the most part, these are going to be pretty tough matchups. All right, the next matchup is Sunglasses versus Instrumental. So many quotables on that track. It's leave Kanye out of this. With frail hands, she grips the NutriBullet. I'm invincible in these sunglasses. I'm modern Scott Walker. There's just so many memorable lines from this track. It's a great sort of like two-part track as well. The slow build-up in the first half leading to the kind of instrumental freak-out is really exciting. I love the kind of angular riffs of the second half. It's probably one of my favorites from For the First Time. It's super. I think the intro with the distorted guitar is just it's just ear candy. It's a great way to hook the listener. So yeah, I love that track. It's absolutely fantastic. And then we have Instrumental. Yeah, so obviously this one doesn't have Isaac. Isaac doesn't grace his presence on it. But it's still a great intro to this. For the First Time, it's a great instrumental track. The riffs are super menacing, but they also have this speedy and kind of urgent feel to them as well. It's pretty different than the rest of the album, which makes it kind of unique. Kind of got this klezmer, I guess, aesthetic to it. And yeah, it's really unique. However, I do think that Sunglasses is just a little bit more memorable. It's hard to compare these two, but I feel like Sunglasses is just a more powerful artistic statement from the band. Next up, we got Turbines/Pigs off their new album, going up against Opus, the ender off of For the First Time. Crazy how good that sounds for it being a live recording. It's absolutely insane. You got Meg Kershaw on the vocals, of course. I feel like she's definitely the best vocalist out of the three that do it on this new album. It's got a very classical feel to the piano. I believe she's playing the piano on this one as well. There's a great kind of mystical instrumental bridge in the middle of the track. Structurally and compositionally, it's similar to a lot of the tracks on Ants From Up There. It's got this swell, it's got this crescendo throughout the entire track, leading up to this very crushing and emotionally dense kind of release in the second half. I love the rising and falling piano and sax lines. The da 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 da. I probably messed up those notes, but you know what I mean. It's so emotional. It's definitely my favorite off of Live at Bush Hall. I wanted to include more of these tracks on this bracket, but I mean, For the First Time and Ants From Up There are just so good. I had to include pretty much all the tracks from those, and then I only had one spot left, so I guess I had to go with Turbines/Pigs because, again, I think it is the best off that album. So overall, it's an entrancing kind of emotional masterpiece. And then we got Opus. Man, this is a crazy ender to For the First Time. The intro with this little... Oh, it's such a good intro. I love the menacing feel to it. The horns on this track are insane. The layering and the harmonies. Overall, it's probably the best horn work on any BCNR song. It's got these really speedy sections that are just super groovy. Seamless transitions between the quick grooves and the more meditative sections as well. So yeah, this thing's great. I think I am going to go with Opus because I feel like it is a little bit more instrumentally diverse than Turbines/Pigs. Turbines/Pigs is great. I just feel like it's a little bit, a wee bit one-dimensional, I guess you could say. So I'm going to go Opus. They're both great, but I think Opus is going to take it. Next up, we got The Place Where He Inserted the Blade versus Haldern. Another tough matchup here. I mean, this is one of those songs off of Ants From Up There that literally, Widowee made me hit the gwitty. No, it literally made me weep on a first listen. Kind of got this King Crimson feel, which is really cool, and I think that comes mostly from the kind of timbre of the sax on this one, and maybe the guitar chords that are being used. I'm pretty sure they're diminished guitar chords. The little theory that I know, I think that's what they're called. Obviously, it's got that memorable refrain of "Good morning." It's got some really catchy and poppy vocals from Isaac as well. The group vocals are great, super emotional. It's kind of got this bright but anguished feel. It's one of the longer tracks off of Ants From Up There, but it goes by pretty quick. And it's got a bunch of great phases and passages to it. And then we got Haldern, of course. I mean, Haldern's one of the most unique tracks off of any BCNR album. I feel like that outro is super unique with the kind of staccato piano and sax, or violin, kind of building up, creating a lot of tension, creating a lot of anxiety, but it's never released. The song doesn't resolve in any way. It just ends, and it just leaves you with this feeling of dread that is just soul-crushing. The chemistry between the band members is great on this one. It's got a really gloomy and, like I said, dreadful feel to it. It's one of the most unique BCNR songs I've ever heard, and I think that's why it's going to move on. I was surprised when obviously I've made these decisions already in the first round. I haven't decided in the second or third or fourth round who's going to win. But I was surprised re-listening to these songs how good Haldern is. I thought The Place Where He Inserted the Blade was going to beat it, but I just feel like Haldern is such a unique track that it has to move on. So there you go. Haldern beats out The Place Where He Inserted the Blade. Next up, we have track X versus Concord.
In your name, in the same room where we fucked as kids.
Track X has a special place in my heart because it was the first Black Country New Road song that I ever heard. I feel like it is their most accessible. It's really sweet and pretty. It's pretty unique in their discography as well. It doesn't have any percussion on it that I'm aware of. I'm listening to it. I didn't hear any percussion, which is pretty different for them. I feel like, again, a little bit more easy on the ears. It's pretty, but I feel like it doesn't leave a super strong emotional impact. And then we got Concord, another track that just hits hard. Bro, the builds on Ants From Up There are absolutely insane. I love Isaac's vocals on this track, his voice cracking vocals. It sounds like he's gonna literally burst into tears at any moment. There's some really great focus in the writing, kind of introducing the metaphor of Concord and that theme that shows up throughout the album. It is, I feel like, a little bit of an underwhelming instrumental compared to some of the stuff on Ants From Up There, at least until that build-up. The build-up and the release and the outro is fantastic. The horns are just like, the horns are literally crying. It sounds like they're weeping in pain. It is just, it's such a hard-hitting ending. I think I'm going to go Concord for this one. I feel like track X, again, is just a little bit underwhelming when it comes to BCNR's discography. Concord, it has grown off me a little bit, but it's still definitely better than track X. Next up, we got Mark's Theme versus Athens, France. Kind of a weird matchup here. So yeah, obviously Mark's theme is a touching kind of tribute to Lewis's uncle that died from COVID. I love how minimal it is, and I love how it just lets the instruments speak for themselves. And really, I mean, the sax playing is great, the piano playing is great. They're both really emotive instruments, and I don't know, it's great. It doesn't work as well as a standalone track than it does in the context of the album. But it is still pretty impressive, and the context behind it makes it extra special as well. Then we got Athens, France, of course. I mean, this has one of the tightest drum performances out of any BCNR song, in my opinion. That riff is instantaneously memorable. Do, 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 do. It's so good. Overall, the track has some really great patience to it and some great swells as well. There's some really emotive chords towards the end, I believe it is, as well as some beautiful kind of expressive saxophone. The outro is really quite beautiful with the shuffling drums as well. It kind of finishes off in this somewhat of a nostalgic feeling. It's a really, I feel like it's another really unique track from the band. Like, you kind of expect it to explode into this huge finish, but it doesn't really do that. It kind of just has this kind of reflective and ponderous ending. So I feel like it subverts expectations in that way. It's definitely going to beat out Mark's theme, in my opinion. Again, Mark's theme is touching, but I feel like Athens, France is just a more memorable song. All right, and then we have Goodwill Hunting versus Basketball Shoe. I love how punchy the drums are on this track. Obviously, you have the iconic "She Had Billie Eilish" style line, which is hilarious and memorable. It's another great vocal performance from Isaac. I think the contrast between the sweet and more bombastic sides of the instrumental is really striking. Overall, I feel like it is one of the more underwhelming tracks. When I went back to this, it just didn't hit me as hard as it did on a first listen. But it's still pretty great. And then Basketball Shoes. I mean, if this doesn't win the bracket, I'll be surprised, because this thing is, just. Sheets now. I mean, I included this song in a video I did titled My Favorite Songs of All Time because it is that good. It's a nearly 13-minute masterpiece. It's an emotional roller coaster that plays with dynamics extremely well. It has a great subtle build to the entire track, even though it's kind of split into 3 different sections. The ending is absolutely mind-blowing. It's world-crushing. It's one of the most blissful and bright, but also painful and tormented pieces of music I feel like I've ever heard in my life. Isaac's performance on it is absolutely insane. The just wall of sound and just the noise and just the density of everything that it reaches is just absolutely insane. It's a perfect ending to Ants from Up There. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it wins the bracket. So it is easily going to beat out Goodwill Hunting here. Next up, we have Bread Song and Chaos Space Marine.
And you played a good organ and the world gathers singing.
This is another track that has a lot of patience to it. The builds on this are very patient. I love the swelling instrumentation in the beginning. I love how it transitions seamlessly into that urgent kind of guitar riff you heard there with that really satisfying and sharp rim hit. It's another great vocal performance from Isaac where he balances kind of emotion and does it with displaying tight vocal melodies as well. The writing is pretty fantastic on this one. It's got this really unique metaphor of the bread and the crumbs, but the crumbs actually being the crumbs of what is likely a failed relationship. It's got heartbreaking lines. I just woke up and you already don't care. I mean, yeah, overall it's just a really heartbreaking track that is another just fantastic moment from one of my favorite albums of all time. And then we got Chaos Space Marine. Strangely, this track actually has a similar feel to instrumental off of For the First Time. I just realized that now. It's definitely one of the most like theatrical off ants from up there. I feel like I love the kind of sporadic intro, the kind of off-kilter feel to it, and then it transitions into this kind of staccato piano. It's a little bit cheesy, a little bit theatrical, but it's got a lot of charm to it. It's got quite a bit of speed to it, and it's pretty quick as well, like a lot of the stuff from For the First Time. It almost feels folky at points as well, and it's got overall a really nice swing to the kind of second half of the track, or the outro. Surprisingly, going back to this and really sitting down with it, I enjoyed Chaos Space Marine a lot more, so it's going to beat out Bread Song. That's another matchup where I thought Bread Song would take it, but Chaos Space Marine, just in a standalone track format of listening to it, not in the context of the album, it's just more of a fun listen, so it's got to move on. All right, and now here's the part that I haven't thought through. Now this is where it gets really tough. We're going to move on to the second round. First up, we have Science Fair versus Sunglasses. Oh, this is so tough. This is it that tough, actually? I don't know. I think Sunglasses has always been one of my favorite BCNR songs, but I feel like it has just continued to grow on me more and more. So honestly, I'm going to go Sunglasses. There's just so many quotables in that track. I do love the angst. I feel like the angst is a little bit higher on Science Fair, but there's just so many little instrumental moments on Sunglasses. And I feel like I do like the overall flow of Sunglasses a little bit better. So yeah, we're going to go Sunglasses on that one. Opus versus Haldern. I'm honestly going to go Haldern. Opus is a great ender, again, to For the First Time, but like I said earlier, Haldern is such a unique Black Country New Road song. It just, the feeling it creates is unlike anything I've ever heard. It's just absolutely insane. The musicality on it, the angst, just everything about it is insane. Yeah, we're gonna go Haldern on that one. Concord versus Athens, France. Yeah, the drums are too good. The drums are too good on Athens, France. I think it's just, it's such a tight performance from the band. I'm going to go Athens, France. Concord, again, used to be one of my favorite BCNR songs. I think I might have overplayed it for myself, to be honest, because it's grown off of me a little bit. It's still great, but again, everything about Athens, France is just excellent. Basketball Shoes versus Chaos Space Marine. Chaos Space Marine had a nice run of winning one round, like the Miami Heat are probably going to do. I don't know why I just brought basketball into this, but shout out to the Miami Heat. They upset the Bucks. Did not think that was going to happen. That was, watching that game last night, Game 5, absolutely insane. Jimmy Butler is him. I don't know. Jimmy Butler might be too gassed for round 2. I feel like the Knicks are going to take it, but does anybody watching even watch sports? I don't know. We're going to continue. Basketball Shoes, like I said, it's going to take it over Chaos Space Marine. I mean, you guys know how much I love Basketball Shoes. I feel like everybody in the BCNR fandom just adores that track, and it's just monumental. It's massive. It's just crushing and insane. So, yeah. Sunglasses versus Haldern. This is actually super tough. Oh my gosh. Two very different tracks. Two very, very different tracks. I feel like the feeling that they create is somewhat similar, but the way that they go about it is really, really different. I'm leaning towards Haldern just because of how unique it is, you know? I feel like Sunglasses, you can kind of get what you get with that track in other tracks. Maybe like even in Athens, France, you kind of get similar vibes. I'm going to go Sunglasses just because I think lyrically, Isaac is a little bit more of a standout on that track. Musically, Haldern is great. I just feel like I have a little bit more fun listening to Sunglasses, so we're going to go with that. I guess measuring how good these tracks are by how much fun I have listening to them doesn't make that much sense, considering that it is a Black Country New Road bracket, but I don't know. I feel like if I'm just going to pick a Black Country New Road song to just put on randomly, I'm going to put on Sunglasses. I feel like Haldern fits a more specific vibe. Sunglasses is a little bit more universal, in my opinion. So, Athens, France versus Basketball Shoes. Athens, France had a good run, made it to the conference finals, but Basketball Shoes is going to take it. Again, pretty self-explanatory there. And then Basketball Shoes versus Sunglasses. I think I saw this coming. I think I knew that this was coming. I knew that Basketball Shoes were coming. What? What am I saying? Yeah, Basketball Shoes versus Sunglasses. Two great tracks here. two very epic, pretty long tracks, and have a lot of phases, have a great progression to them. Basketball Shoes feels a little bit more emotive, feels a little bit more mature, in my opinion, and is just kind of more of a roller coaster of an emotional journey. So I'm going to go with Basketball Shoes as our champ, as my best Black Country New Road song. So there you go. That is the bracket. I know it was kind of short. I realized that I talked a lot in the first round and didn't really discuss that much in the following rounds, but hey, I guess that's how it goes. There you go. Basketball Shoes is the best song. I could probably tell you coming into this that was going to happen, and there you go. It happened. Go listen to Black Country New Road if you haven't. I'm assuming you have if you're watching this video, but if you haven't, they are genuinely one of the best bands that I've ever heard. They're probably my favorite band right now, and they make some of the most emotional, technically impressive, and profound and just meaningful music today. So go check them out. And yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Who would you have winning this bracket? Leave a like if you want. Subscribe if you want. Go join the Patreon if you want to see some uncut reactions. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.